I'm so cold, I'm so tired. My body says rest, but my brain is wired. One voice says go to bed and sleep all night, but the other voice says it's time to ride. So, despite appearing to be increasingly unhinged, I do have a plan for my writing session tonight, and that is going to involve probably not a lot of writing and instead some reading and some research. I've reached a point in the story that I'm writing where I feel like I need a vibe check on how I'm going to write the next part in a way that is befitting to the story and the kind of vibe that I'm going for. So to do that, we're gonna grab some books, take them upstairs, and do a bit of reading, research, and planning. So let's do that. Which might be easier said than done, because if you can't tell, I'm actually really short. Oh god. I need help. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my books. I'm gonna start skimming through them to get to the most relevant parts, and I'm probably gonna make some notes based on the kind of style and the atmosphere that these authors are able to like curate in their stories, and think about how I can translate that in my own way into my own story. Where do you start? Let's get some pretty music on me. I don't know if I'll music on. Yeah, so I'm just reading actually in the introduction to this book about the author that he was somewhat of a misogynist with very unfavourably portrayed female characters. So don't want to emulate that. That's just something I'm gonna keep in my mind as I'm reading through the stories. And yeah, it's been like a few years since I read any of these stories, where I probably wasn't thinking about misogynistic portrayals of female characters in the same way that I am now. So happy for the heads up, and I will see how that comes across. Okay, so I've got my first note, and really it's nothing to do with the story itself or the kind of topic of the story or anything like that. It's, I don't know how to describe it really. There's something in how the scenes are set up that I've noticed before in other stories. So that's what I'm going to make some notes about. Interesting. So I've done a bit of reading and I've made a couple of notes, and I'm kind of fighting the urge to like jump back into the story and start writing the next part of it, and I'm trying not to do that because I want to read a little bit more and kind of sit on these notes for a little bit and think about what do I want to take from these stories, what sort of atmosphere do these stories create, and think about what do I want to create that's like mine, rather than just trying to take it sort of literally. And I think that requires a little bit of like stewing, sitting in it, digesting it a little bit. And then in my next writing session next week, I'll jump back into the story. I think that's what I'm gonna try and do. So let's keep reading. Another thing this is making me think about is the time period in which my story is set, because these books that I'm reading are all largely from the sort of very early 20th century, some late 19th century. And the story that I'm writing at the moment, I kind of haven't decided a time period other than it's some point in the past, but I've left it kind of deliberately open. Well, when you read these stories, they are very much of that time, and I think I want to like bring something, a sense of the past to this story, but still leave it open as to when exactly it might be, such that it could also be today, if that makes sense. Just gonna crack open some party rings, which is, if you don't know, an elite child's biscuit. I think a few years ago I thought, oh, I'm an adult now, I can't eat these, but that was wrong. So let's tuck in. So good. Okay, so I did get a bit distracted. Started off skimming some of these stories. Phone died. So as I was saying, I did get a little bit distracted in the end there. I started off kind of skimming the stories and looking for what I was looking for. Then I got really into one of the stories and started just reading it. And then I started reading my own story, and then I kind of got into that, did a little bit of editing and stuff. Basically kind of went off on a tangent from what the original plan was. So it wasn't the most productive writing evening, but it was useful to sort of remind myself of some of the narrative devices and ways of like setting up scenes that I have read and liked in the past. So it was not a wasted evening. I'd love to know if you do this as a writer. Do you take time to kind of go back and like scan specific books and authors that you like and you're inspired by? It's late and want to go to bed, but I said I would make a specific thing for the kids' breakfast, so I'm going to do that first. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.